Well, welcome back, and much earlier than I expected myself. It's only been a week and I'm already back with some new content about the Rivian R1T. I want to show you a few things that I figured out the last week that I think you might be helpful, and a couple of the things that I'm particularly excited about in this truck. So let's get going and let's look at those items. So I will talk about a few different things, including but not limited to the tow hitch and what I got for that, and I'm going to show you my setup for that because I want to trailer a new boat with that I have on order that's coming in a couple of months, and also the Carwash mode, which was one thing that Tesla put into the software update a few months back, and now Rivian also has one set up, and I want to compare those and see what that does. And then I got my first OTA software update last night, and I kind of show you how that shows up here in the car and how that works. And I'm going to try to track down a high-speed charger in my area, which normally I don't use those because I'll charge at home, but for the purpose of figuring out how much charge I can get out of it, I'll probably go to one that's close by what should be a mid-range unit, and then one from Electrify America that's supposed to be a 250 kW charger. Let's see what that does. So let's get started in a few here with the Carwash mode. I'm going to be headed down now to a very nice touch-free car wash, pretty new thing close by. So when you get to the car wash where I am right now, they're going to guide you in with the vehicle. I'm going to turn on car wash mode, which is going to close the window and lock everything down and make sure no ports and nothing open. They're still asking me to move forward a little bit. And then I put it in neutral just by holding up the stalk for a couple of seconds. So car wash mode, close the charge port, make sure that activates normally by touch, doesn't open or close, closes all the windows, shuts down the rain sensitive wipers, and then you just got to put it in neutral and it's going to pull me through the car wash. And after that, just going to check it on the outside real quick, make sure it's clean, vacuum out the carpets, and then we're off. So here are the floor mats. They have like a fabric look, but it's a very durable fabric. Feels like a seesaw, like a rope type nearly, but very flat. And they have this backing, and they're actually supposed to be waterproof, so they don't contain the water, the dirt in there, but if it gets on there, you can really clean them up easily. They clean up well. So the whole truck looks good again, inside and out. And we're ready to hit the road again. While we're headed from the car wash now to the charger, one other thing that I found interesting, Rivian versus Tesla. I got a phone call this morning, I had this car now for a week, from a Rivian technician, not a guide, and he inquired about a couple of things that were like IOUs when I got the car. Followed up on it, there is a problem with the PPF, the paint protection film on the driver's side gear tunnel, and he wanted to just make sure they have this on their list so they can set it up to get it fixed. And there were two paint imperfections on the edges of the hood where it got chipped, I think, in the factory. They showed that to me at delivery, and he wanted to know that and inquired if there's anything else that I have with the car. And I have a couple of minor things that I listed to them, and they put this on a service ticket. And so I'm curious to see how the first service in that regard is going to go. But so that's new, because they're very friendly, give you a phone number and point out to you and say like, look, here's the phone number, there's the service. You can reach out to us 24/7, any questions, anything you need, please reach out. We'll try to help you best that we can, which I don't recall I've ever gotten that phone call from Tesla, no offense. So that was a positive experience for Rivian customer service so far. Let's see how that develops when I really have actually something they have to work on, but that's good news. So here we are at the charge point charge station, and I have never used this before, not charged this truck anywhere now at my house. And look what I am parked between. On this side and around on the other side. Rivian Amazon Prime vans, beautifully. So let's get to the charging. And I do have a ChargePoint account, so let's see how we get in here. So a while back already, I signed up for ChargePoint, and this seems to be pretty painless. So now let's see, I have two options here. We have this charger, and below we have this, and that looks to be like a commercial charger for the trucks. Interesting. Let's put this one back in, take this one with us, and at the car now you want to open this lower flap, plug the charger right in there, and see what happens on the screen. So it shows that it's able to charge at 62.5 kilowatt, and it's charging right now. This changed to in use, and it says details, but it doesn't seem to be a touchscreen. Let me see what it says in the truck. So this is on the main screen. And if I go on the car screen over here and I change to charging, here's what it shows me right now. So we're gaining 144 miles per hour of charging. Would take me now about 40 minutes to get back to a 70% battery charge. But obviously I'm just kind of doing this for fun to see what happens. But at least it worked, and it worked flawless. And with that little ChargePoint key card that you get from them when you sign up, they mail that to you. That was pretty painless, and that ties to your credit card. So far so good. So following up real quick on the electric Amazon Rivian van and an ID4 next to it, I just learned something very interesting from the driver, and that is these are not in service by Amazon yet. They are basically a subcontractor that is hired by Amazon and Rivian to do shakedown drives. So all they do all day is drive these vans around. They got like 20 cameras or so in them. Drive them around. They have about a 150 mile range, I would think, on the 180 kilowatt battery, which should be plenty for a day drive. And they do shakedown drives. And so try to break them, try to find something that doesn't work. And they do this with all kinds of vehicles for all kinds of manufacturers. So that's basically their job. And then in 6 months or so, they're gonna hit service with Amazon. So if you wanna see where you are software sides, you go over here into settings. Vehicle updates. There it shows your software version. And then when you click on this, it shows you on the screen what is new and what has changed since the latest update. These were like a lot of smaller functional updates, improvements, not really adding a lot, completely new things except the soft sand mode, which I don't live in the Sahara. This is going to be tough for me to really judge. And then battery preconditioning if you have your navigation set on a route to a supercharger. But I hope there's more function updates coming in the future. This worked flawless, took about 40 minutes. After I enabled it, it gave me a notification on my app and let me know when it was done. So that worked out very well. Okay, here we go. So as you can see, on the Rivian, the tow hitch is completely concealed, but it is standard. Every truck has it. It's built in under this cover under the truck. So if you don't use it, or you don't need it at all, you leave it like this. But when you want to use it in preparation for that, screwdriver, there's just simply two little screws, plastic screws underneath. All you gotta do is a quarter turn. This whole cover comes off. You store that in the truck, and there is your receiver. And it's very solidly built. Looks rock solid to me. 7-pin wiring harness is there, and then you just take your removable pin, your removable hitch. You slide this in and set your pin through, lock it on the other side, and a minute or less, you're ready to go with the Hitch setup. Beautifully done. So as we know, one of the major draws for people that drive a Tesla is their Autopilot, which is not quite an autopilot, but the functionality obviously in regards to lane changes and road holding and curves is probably the best from all these systems that are currently out there. Super Cruise from General Motors might be the other one that gets pretty close. Rivian has this called Driver Plus, and currently it only works on highways that are registered in their system. So you can't use it yet on other overland roads or in the city. But this is what you see on your screen, and basically it also lets you do the same thing hands-free, but it will also complain if you don't pay attention. And for that purpose, they even have up here over the mirror a camera installed, which I have not really seen in regards to the impact that it makes, but it is supposed to complain if you don't pay attention. And so I had to put my hand back on the wheel here. And if you go into the vehicle settings, there's the Driver Plus. And under Driver Plus, then you have selections that you can select or deselect in regards to which warnings do you want to have, and if you want those warnings normal or early, and so forth. And as you can see, it's kind of trying to pay attention that I'm not paying attention, but this works pretty well and also keeps you in the lane. And even if you're outside of Driver Plus, if you disengage this and you're just veering a little bit off the lane, you can see those markings showing up, and the vehicle will actually steer itself back into the lane as an override. And if you cross the lane and you don't have a turning indicator on, it will give you also an audible warning and a little chime. So I think we will see over-the-air updates for that for more functionality. But for starters, this is working quite well. Part 2 of the charging experiment, which down in Naples here is a Electrify America charging station with 4 charge points, where I was going to try to show you the high-speed charging with the Rivian. I was trying to charge the car here, and it shows that it has a capacity of up to 350 kilowatts, but this is the other part that it shows. And I called Electrify America, and they confirmed that currently on this station with 4 charge positions, charge ports, only one of them, where the Mustang is sitting, that's a 50 kilowatt charger, is working. So the Ioniq as well as the Rivian, out of luck. And obviously that is going to be one of the major problems with electric vehicles becoming more mainstream. If these providers, and I think Electrify America is tied in with Volkswagen, cannot get their ducks in a row and get this charging to be as convenient and reliable as the Tesla superchargers were, then you're really depending on your home charging, which is fine for me. But if you don't have a good home charger, now you're out of luck. So that obviously needs to get better, and it needs to get better fast. But I can't report how the high-speed charging is quite yet. So sometimes you have to rig it a little bit, if you know what I mean. Since the charging cable is so short, but they got this one charger finally going from Electrify America, I plugged in here, and you can see I'm getting 213 kilowatt right now on a 350 theoretical, but I guess this is the max that the truck will accept at this battery state of charge. The battery is preconditioned, so it's working. Let's see what we have inside. So this is what you see on the display here right now. And then if I go over to the car to charging, we're gaining now 498 miles per hour at this charge speed. So that's pretty impressive. So it would not take us long at all to get this battery back to 70%. And again, wasn't really the goal. We were just trying it out. 15 minutes, they say, to get to 70%. Well, that's great. If they work, that's impressive. So at the end of the day, what have we learned? Supercharging and the charging on the available network, if it works great. ChargePoint worked at the lowest speed, but without any hiccups. And Electrify America has, and I heard from other people at the charger, met another Rivian driver actually there too, said has constant hiccups, but if they get their chargers up to speed. This Rivian can pull off an impressive charge speed. The tow hitch is a beautiful assembly, very easy to get your own receiver in there, and I'm looking forward to towing with the car, and then I can tell you more about that part. The Driver Plus assistance systems on the highway work very similar to the Tesla Autopilot. Does not in the city yet at all. That's not there. The over-the-air updates seem to be working very nice, and the functionality is coming in, so that's exciting to see what they're going to do forward. And Rivian customer service sets a friendly tone and seems to be very responsive. So 500 miles and a good week in with this truck. It's pretty much all positive. I really have nothing major to complain about, and the few things that you could say, well, this is not as good as the Tesla or the charging. We all know this, right? When you buy a car that's not on the Supercharger network and doesn't have 6 or 8 years of experience now on the road with a gazillion miles driven that the manufacturer can pull data from, you cannot be quite as far. You see the green light from the charger, by the way, blinking in the background. So by the time I get back to this truck in the morning, the battery for sure in 5 hours is going to be back to 70%. Usual overnight charging at home on a 40 amp 240, I think a 50 amp 240 circuit that's pulling 42 amps right now and charging at 19 miles per hour on average. That's how this is. But appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you learned something else that you didn't know already. See you next time.